The humanitarian conditions in Gaza reached catastrophic levels, as Dr. Khatib has mentioned, and the WHO as well said that it is the main reason for rising deaths and the risks of famine. Would this push the U.S. into more mediation efforts that would align with U.S. strategic interests or domestic pressure?
I think that the health and the food situation in the Gaza Strip and the CSOs conveying and portraying the picture of what's happening in Gaza are embarrassing Trump and the international community. And now it's embarrassing to Trump to come to the Middle East while a systematic starvation is being practiced as a weapon, which is a weapon that has never been used before in any type of war. No one had the audacity to use that starvation as a weapon against the enemy, and I think the US administration does not want this to happen. And already some humanitarian aid is being entered. Trump was able to make that happen. Yes, there are not enough, but we can read the scene that the US administration is seeking today to conclude a deal. Already this deal started with the release of the first US detainee after a halt that lasted for months. The humanitarian aid will start to enter Gaza, and we have seen the starvation and the international organizations working inside Gaza that there is a real setback and catastrophe. We have seen the US pressure, and it is completely responsible for what is happening in Gaza. And if they wanted to stop the war, they will do it completely exactly as what happened before the Trump inauguration as the President of the United States. Let's say that what happened before Trump assumed office and the envoy that was sent to Netanyahu, as he scolded Netanyahu to stop the war and start the negotiations, because he is the man who came to stop the war. And Benjamin Netanyahu was able to send messages, whether through his wife to Trump or through senior officials from the Congress and the Senate, messages to Trump, and resume his negotiations and talks with Trump with his first visit to eliminate the Hamas movement and bring back the detainees in a few days. This is the promise given by Netanyahu to Trump, and that's why Trump gave him the green light to start eliminating Hamas and build the Riviera of the Middle East. Netanyahu was never able to achieve any of his goals agreed upon with Trump, and the Trump's visit was all to no avail. And the relationship between Netanyahu and Trump now is witnessing a lot of tensions, as it is not meeting the interests of Israel or America. And consequently, the divisions between the Israeli Prime Minister and Trump started, and this tension is not only between the US and Israel, it's only between the persons Netanyahu and Trump. Trump is the strongest president of the United States of America. He came after Biden with a very weak reign, and it was very fortunate for Netanyahu, but he misused the opportunity, and now Trump is able to force Netanyahu to agree to a deal and to resume the sustainable flow of humanitarian aid access.
Yes.
And
well,
we find this opportunity very
I'm
promising.
sorry to cut you off, but Dr. Khatib, given that Aidan Alexander refused to meet Netanyahu post his release, he finally called him on the phone. How much damage has been done to the symbolic unity between the US and Israeli narratives? Are we going to expect more back-channel talks between the US and Hamas then?
Yes, I think that the US will continue to deal with Hamas if the U.S. needs to do that, and I think it's driven by the needs of the U.S. I don't think it's a political recognition, but maybe it's a de facto recognition, but still Hamas is seen as off limits, that the U.S. will not recognize them, deal with them, and they're classified as a terrorist organization. But if there is an American interest, they will meet with them. But the Israeli society is divided, and Netanyahu has supporters, but he has opponents. And the fact that Trump was able to get the American citizen released is a promise that he made. Trump made the promise to get the Americans, all of them, released, and he did. He is the president of the U.S. He can't tell the Israelis what to do, basically. The Israelis are telling Trump they're a sovereign nation, that Netanyahu is an elected prime minister, and that the people have voted for this guy, and he makes decisions for them. And if he is on a collision course with Netanyahu, Israel will have to pay a price. So the way to deal with the problem without colliding with Israel is to ignore Netanyahu, basically, and sideline him and make deals on the side. I mean, he made a deal with the Houthis. He's talking to the Iranians. He's dealing with the Arab Gulf, especially now there is a Israeli campaign against Qatar. When Qatar is very valuable to the U.S. I mean, the Arabian Gulf is a very valuable friend of and allies of the U.S. There are bases, American bases in the Arabian Gulf. And Qatar has played a very important mediator roles, dealing with the Taliban, dealing with Hamas, dealing with Iran. Oman has done the same thing. So the Arab Gulf is very important to the U.S. national interests. And Iran is vital to a key component of Trump's economic policy. He had a major transition. There is a major transition happening in the world. What's really keeping things in check from all hell breaking loose is the fact that oil is under control. If the price of oil goes up, it's going to be a major disaster for Trump and his program. Yes. He was bragging in an interview. He was bragging that the oil price is down. Without that, this transition would have been way more painful for the U.S.